The recent flooding disaster to hit the country served as a harsh wake-up call on the urgent need to address long-term risks from climate change and uncontrolled development. We speak to Renard Siew, a climate change expert, on the importance of effective urban planning to mitigate future natural disasters.
And I think there is something to be said, right, about the need for more proper urban planning. So, especially for developers, I think it's very important to ensure that they start integrating climate and flood risks in their planning. This also means that not developing in areas that have been demarcated, right, as flood retention ponds. I think this is actually an important flood mitigation strategy. So it's important that there is no overdevelopment in such areas. So these are some of the key things that I think need to be looked at. Of course, having said so, I think there are also other strategies. For example, depending on context, of course, there's a need to start looking at whether we need to deepen our rivers or drainage systems. Because what scientists have said is that even though this might seem like a 1 in 100-year splits, but the fact of the matter is, with the climate crisis happening, they are happening a lot more frequently. We are expecting stronger storms, typhoons to hit, and sea levels are definitely rising.
Global warming is dangerously close to spiraling out of control. A UN climate panel in August last year warned that the world is already certain to face further climate disruptions for decades, if not centuries to come.
Science is clear, like extreme weather events such as floods, droughts, heat waves, they used to only cover about 0.1% of our entire Earth's surface. But that number in just the last decade have increased about 14.1%, which means that it's actually 14 times more likely for us to be witnessing such catastrophic events. And mind you that prior to the floods in Malaysia, we've also seen such events happening back to back, in China, in Germany, and New York. So they are happening a lot faster, more frequently, and we have to start preparing for this.
Malaysia says Renard needs an immediate and clear roadmap for climate adaptation strategies.
What is important is ensuring that no one is left behind, as per the principles of the Sustainable Development Goals. So, everyone needs to come on board. It's not just the government, but civil society organizations, making sure that indigenous communities living in rural areas are also coming on board to provide their inputs on such a plan. But a plan at the end of the day, I think it's not just on paper. I think it's important that we also look and pilot tests to see whether it's actually robust and resilient enough for us to tackle the current challenges ahead. So I think a lot remains to be done, to be honest, but I'm optimistic that we will get there.